Good evening everybody and welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F2 and we're here at the Season 4 finale here in Abu Dhabi. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the commentary box for this evening is James Head. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well, Kieran. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Looking forward to seeing this season really end with the Constructors' Battle. Well, Teams' Battle is what it's actually called. But yeah, with a slight margin between first and second place. We've also got the battle for best of the rest, with Frisch getting a good, consistent run lately. It's fair to say he's in pole position to try and take second place in this championship. Of course, James and I will be going through the championship standings with you very, very shortly indeed. But first of all, we just have to talk about the Twilight race from dusk till dusk to midnight basically. James, it's a unique track, this one.
It is a unique track. 21 corners, 2 DRS straights down the main straights, splitting with a chicane in the middle of that. That's turns 8 and 9. As I said, the 2 DRS zones between turns 7 and 8, turns 10 and 11 out on track. But that final sector, very technical final sector, don't be surprised if you see a few spinners or maybe a few knock front wings through that, because it's honestly going to be it could be a car killer tonight. You could see some big names out.
Well, we could do. I mean, turns 1 and 2 are very, very aero heavy, if you like. Especially, well, actually turns 2 and 3, because it's the long left-hander and the long right-hander. So it really demands...
That right-hander.
Yeah,
go on. Sorry.
No, you're all right. I was just going to say, it really demands the aero of the car, and what is on the car in terms of aero isn't a lot, as we've said throughout the entire season, James.
Yeah, I tend to find turn 3 especially, the back end does kick out, especially if you override that curb on the outside. It is pretty costly, and I've seen many, many, many drivers fall foul of turn 3 round here, and that is across pretty much every single league I've commentated on.
So if you missed the last round in the United States of America, it was Frisch in the Trident car who took his first race win ever in TTL F2. He was followed by Siege, and then it was Navy who rounded out the top 3. If we look at the drivers' standings, well, we can see that Siege has really, run away with it now. 193 points he leads, with Frisch there in second place on 89 points. It's Navy in third on 78, with Honey in fourth on 77. Sean in fifth on 71, with Lyronix in sixth on 65. Maze is in seventh on 54, with Maximus in eighth on 48. Crazy Legs is in ninth with 41 points, and Graham is 10th on 21. Henny is in 11th on 21, Alan Kay in 12th on 19, Yuzi 13th on 15, Pedro in 14th on 12 points, Barry in 15th on 8 points, and George Roberts with just the 1 point this season so far. As we look at the team standings, then Carlin lead the way on 194 points, Campos in second on 170, Trident in third on 128, MP Motorsport in fourth on 95, Charu and Arden tied in fifth place, both on 95 points, Dams in seventh on 73, ART in 8th on 67, Prima in 9th on 62, and Russian Time just 4 points for them this season. So it's fair to say, James, 24 points between Carlin and Campos. The battle is between those two. It's going to be very tricky for Campos to come back, but as they say, don't rule anything out.
Don't rule anything out. Just have a look at the results last week, of course, with the Campos team. Honey having not starting because of, I think it was, I can't remember the reason, but he didn't race last week. It was Sean who picked up the points. Carlin also had a second place finish from Siege. You would probably think that the championship is probably in the balance with Carlin at the minute. Just have a feeling though, Campos could do it, but I don't see anybody from the Campos team here. So maybe it's over before it already begins.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Not long to go though until we're readying up to go into this one, but the final race of the season is just around the corner, I would say. James, it has been quite a season to reflect on. here in season number 4. We've had a change of, well, the change of cars for a start. We started off in the multiplayer cars, now we're here in the F2 cars. And to be honest with you, the fact that it changed not exactly halfway through the season, but quite a bit of the season was done in the multiplayer cars before we then switched over to the F2 cars. Who do you think came out on top in that switchover?
Ooh, that has put me on the spot. Well, looking at the championship, you can really argue that Siege is the one as a proper standout. 193 points this season. That was even before swapping over. He had a bit of a dominant lead going on before he swapped over into the F2 cars. Just about to get going. For me, however, I think Honey, since I don't think he ever raced in the multiplayer cars, the F2 cars, he has taken to that like a duck to water. And 77 points to his name. Watch out for him next season, because he is going to be a lively championship contender.
For now, though, we've got Season 4 to wrap up, and we go towards the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Hello to you all in the stream. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Tuesday evening, which is currently raining for me. But it's bone dry here in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I think it's raining for me as well, so thank God we've got dry weather in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, I can't confirm. Well, I can't really see now. It's dark.
No, you don't say. Well, we
the
are
only bit of
forward.
light I can see is from my neighbour's window over the back.
That's not great, I have to say. However, we are getting ready now for the final one-shot qualifying of this season. And, yep, I think there's no Campos cars, so the Constructors' Championship has pretty much been wrapped up, but there is a chance for drivers to try and grab the final spot of second place in the championship. Here we are then riding on board with Navy for a lap around Yas Marino as we head now down towards turn 1. Turn the car in, using that curve on the inside to help the cars steer in as you now make your way up the hill through turn 2 and then through turn 3. Really aero heavy corners here. You've got to wholly and solely rely on the car to get you through it. Heading now down the hill towards turn 4 and 5, 6 and then onto the hairpin of turn number 7. Slowest corner on the track, down to second gear for Navy as he looks to try and get the acceleration now down one of the longest straights on the circuit between turn 7 and turn 8, and the DRS zone comes up right about now as we now make our way down towards that next series of corners, turns 8, 9 and 10, braking hard now for turn 8. Watch the sleeping policeman on the inside, very easy to get it all wrong, especially with that sleeping policeman on the exit of turn 9. Now into the second DRS zone, and now coming down towards turn 11. This is where you're going to see a couple of moves, if they're already in this race, down towards turn 11, 12 and 13. Expect some cars to go side by side through here, especially in the first couple of laps. Back end wants to step out on Navy then, but he gathers it up really well as we head in towards turn 14, using the curves aggressive there to try and help him get the apex of these corners through turn 15 and then on towards turn 16, where 16 has to be used for the braking point for this corner. Turn 17, very easy to lock up the front brakes here, and very easy, just go straight on through 18, then through turn 19 now. Short run then towards turn 20, try and use that blue tarmac if you can. The game lets you, so use it all you can. Turn 20 and then tackling the last corner of turn 21. Apex is later than you think, very easy to carry too much speed through the corner, and Navy now on towards the start finish line will grab pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. 49.6, the only driver to get into the 49s, and in fact the only driver to score under a 1 minute 50 lap time with Siege of 151.5. A great lap time from Navy then, which puts him onto pole position. So then let's have a look at the qualifying results here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here in TTL F2. It is Navy who has put it on pole position by 1.8 seconds ahead of Siege. Crazy Legs Ed in third, Oxford in fourth on soft tyres, Mays in fifth on softs with Maximus in sixth, also on the soft tyres. Alan Kay 7th on super softs with Henny in 8th. Yuzi in 9th there, wrapping up the valid lap times with Frisch and Graham not having their lap times count for the qualifying session and in towards the race. Not the end of the world though. there are only a couple of drivers in this race. We are quite short quite a few drivers, so plenty of opportunities to score some points in the final race of the season and try and build momentum for the next season and try and set yourself some targets. So in terms of targets then, obviously Siege wants to end the season with a win. He's got plenty of other drivers around him who are willing to stop that. Who do you think is going to come out on top in Abu Dhabi?
Honestly, for me, Navy. Based off that lap, nearly 2 seconds clear the rest of the field. What a lap, first of all. I was absolutely speechless by that lap. It was absolutely fantastic.
It was a pretty good lap, wasn't it? I have to say.
It was a fantastic lap. I mean, come on, for only driver to get within a 150 and under a 150 itself, take some doing round here. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I think Navy will win. I'm going to put them there now. Navy will win.
So, bold prediction then from James then as we make our way on towards the grid for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Of course, the formation lap first as we now take you for a tour around the circuit. And it's one of those circuits where it's the end of the season, you know it, but obviously the battle for second place in the championship isn't over yet, and Navy has done a fantastic job of putting himself in the running to try and grab that second place in the championship. Frisch though will be starting in 10th place, not the way he wanted to start, to try and defend this second place in the championship that he's got for himself right now. Going through the table then, Frisch is on 89 points, Navy on 78. Honey, who is not here tonight, would have been in 4th place in the championship. Neither is Sean. Lyronix also not here, so that's really it. So it's the battle between Frisch and Navy then for second place in the championship. Frisch on 89. Navy on 78, so 11 points between them, and we'll try and get you up-to-date standings as and when we can. But Navy puts himself in a really good position to try and take that second place away from Frisch in the championship by putting it on pole position. Now, no extra points for pole position, however, the momentum that Navy will have behind that lap time will be outstanding, I think.
Yeah, I think the momentum will certainly be in his corner, but watch out for Afri, because last time out in America, he's starting 10th here tonight. He's going to be within the points off the start. He's going to be behind some, let's just say, slightly slower drivers than him. He can pick his way through the field nicely. He will be the one to watch here tonight, and I have every confidence that Afri could get a podium here tonight, and that is a massive prediction I'm making.
Every driver then going for a set of soft tyres. So obviously in F2 you don't have to start on the tyres you qualified on. So free range of tyres for all of the field. They've all chosen the soft tyres, so they're looking to try and go for that alternate strategy. I highly doubt we're going to see any of the medium tyres come out in this race. So it'll be soft to super soft, and I'm expecting around about 20 laps on these tyres before the drivers come in to change their tyres. But 31 laps here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in Yas Marina, and we're now gridding up for the final race of season number 4 here in TTL F2. These weren't the cars we started with, but my goodness, how we're ending it on a high with these cars. These drivers have been excellent all season. So let's put on one more show here in TTL F2, here in Abu Dhabi. Moments away then from the season finale of TTL F2 here in Abu Dhabi. It is 5 red lights. Round 11 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like it's a really good start from Siege, a terrible start from Navy, as Crazy Legs looks to go up the inside, in towards turn 1, side by side now, as Siege takes the lead. Navy holds it around the outside, but Crazy Legs is up for this one, in towards turn 2, then through turn 3, and Navy holds on for a bit longer. Look at Oxford there, right on the back as well, looking to try and get involved. That looks like Maximus taking a trip across the bumps there. In towards now turn number 5, through then turn 6, and Frisch is really on a charge. He started in 10th place, he's now up to 5th place. He's having none of this tonight, as that is Henny just off the circuit in the background there, looking to rejoin. He has rejoined there in 10th place, but a great start from Frisch as he now moves himself up to 5th place. This is Mays and Maximus we're watching now heading down towards turn 8, and again lots of moves happening up and down the field. Frisch going up the inside of Oxford then as Crazy Legs runs deep at turn 8. He might have the inside for turn 9. I think he's missed the curve. Has he? No, he's rejoined no, he has rejoined ahead. So Crazy Legs missed the curve then. And I think Frisch will be on the radio saying he should give me that position, but at the moment, Crazy Legs is still ahead right now, so Frisch is going to have to do all of that on the track. And meanwhile, then, that is Yuzi there trying to go up the inside of Maze, then in towards turn 11. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but he's got the move done. Meanwhile, then, that is Frisch now going around the outside of Crazy Legs and takes that position away. Great move from Frisch then. He's up to third place. He's gained 7 positions in 1 lap. And how about Navy? He's lost 1 position in 1 lap. Who's the momentum going to be behind, I wonder? Meanwhile, then, Oxford battling away with Crazy Legs then as we make our way underneath the underpass. Yellow flags in Sector 3, and that's Maze around into the wall there. Now, where is that, I wonder? That is... Oh, he's facing the wrong way. So it is just before the grandstand then. So Maze has lost a chunk of that front wing, so he's going to have to come back to the pit lane. Meanwhile, Oxford trying to go up the inside of Crazy Legs into the final corner. Quite an unorthodox move there. Didn't quite work out for him, but at the end of this first lap then, it is Siege who leads, Navy second, Frisch third, Crazy Legs fourth, Oxford fifth, Maximus sixth, Yuzi seventh, Graham in eighth, Henny ninth, Alan Kay and Maze, both Dams cars into the pits, 10th and 11th respectively.
Great start, Afri. Exactly what the doctor ordered with that start. Brilliant start from him. Picked his way through the field. There was a little bit of contact off the start. I do believe it was between Uzi and Alan Kay, which might just explain why Alan Kay is getting a front wing change in the pit lane. So obviously both Dams as well into the pits, and Maze are going to be held up as a result. However, we've got a train of cars running down the straight. Crazy Legs defending off Oxford, Maximus and Uzi. Maximus and Oxford's going to look very close here at the end of the straight. Running down into turn 8 and 9 and 10. Oh, Crazy Legs running wide. Oxford nearly following the same line as in Maximus trying to get past. And there's Uzi on the outside of him as well. Side by side, I'll hand over back to you.
Yeah, it's a little bit crowded now as we head towards turn 11. Maximus gets away with it. He now tries to go round the outside of Oxford. Oxford up the inside. He's missed the corner completely and goes straight on. That could have been crazy. Oh, Maximus makes contact with Crazy and finds himself in a half spin onto the grass then. Not great for him. I think he was just on the inside there. He's got a bit of front wing damage as well on the right-hand side of that car. Yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3, and that is Oxford out of the race. He missed the corner completely, and he's now out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Not a great way to end the season, but of course they do have the Cup next week to look forward to if it doesn't quite go to plan tonight. More details on that later on. Meanwhile then, Yuzi trying to close in on Crazy Legs as Siege sets the fast lap of the race, 1:54.9. Yuzi using the final corner to try and gain an advantage on Crazy Legs, try and get the better exit. Down towards turn 1 we go. Crazy Legs moves to the right hand side, try to take the racing line, which he does, but he runs deep into turn 1, and Yuzi might just take that position away and say that's one of the easiest overtakes he's ever had to make. I mean, Crazy Legs here seems to be struggling with the car. Maybe it's in a quali setup, and actually he wants more grip out there that he's just not finding.
There's a possibility that his left front end plate might be slightly damaged. I can't really see that for certain, but looking at the way he's just been overtaken by Uzi, I definitely think there's some sort of damage on that car, even if it is very light.
So he might have a chance here. Crazy Legs now with the DRS right on the back of Uzi here as we make our way now down towards turn 8. He's on the inside, side by side they go, and Crazy Legs will take that position away. Can he slow the car down in time? No, he can't. Through turn 8 now in towards turn 9. Oh, contact there! Tried to go up the inside, and Yuzi was around the outside. Now, it's up for debate whether Yuzi left the room or whether Crazy Legs was going for a gap that didn't exist. Either way, Crazy Legs felt the brunt of that on the front tyres. He's kept the car facing the right direction, which is what's important here. And, yeah, both drivers have made their way out with just a couple of scratches on both of their side pods. Meanwhile, Maximus right on the back of Graham here as we now make our way in towards turn 14.
Yeah, Graham maintained the back end nicely, but Maximus has got a pure great run now coming through the triple right-handers, I like to call it, through 15, 16 and 17. Maximus could look for the inside move here. S. Graham wide, picks up a 5-second time penalty. That's a bit harsh, I've got to be honest. But Maximus has got the move done as a result of that, and Crazy Legs squirreling the back end all over the track in front. Maximus now caught up in a Prima sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Crazy Legs. Whatever's happening, he just seems to be struggling with the setup of the car altogether. He's just not happy with it out there, and it's costing him a lot of time. As we see Jeffrey and Alan Kay battling for position. That was through the S section there of 11, 12 and 13. It just looked like Henny took advantage on softer tyres and moved his play up to 8th place. And meanwhile then Graham 4/10 down on Maximus, as we see 2 cars up ahead of Maximus and Crazy Legs bunny hopping over the curbs. You can get away with that one once, but multiple times you start to feel your tyres give way after a couple of those, as we now make our way in towards turn number 7. And it's all about the traction here, keeping the car in that straight line. We've got Maximus here, who doesn't have the DRS. Yes, he does on Crazy Legs. Graham also has the DRS on Maximus up ahead of him, but all 3 cars just don't seem to be close enough together right now. But there's a reason there's 2 DRS straights, as Crazy Legs now starts his braking down towards turn 8, and again a little bit of a lock up there in towards 9 now, and Maximus is really starting to see, well, that Crazy Legs' weakness is into turn 8. He just seems to leave his braking late every single time. Maybe he's forgetting that there's so much fuel on board. Meanwhile then, Maximus now trying to go up the inside now at turn 11. Crazy Legs on the outside, clips the curb, which means the car's unsettled. Can't slow down in time, and he loses that position then. Meanwhile, Graham now, right on the back of his teammate, wants to try and get this move done.
Yeah, great move by Maximus on Crazy Legs there. I think there was a little bit of desync there between Maximus and Crazy Legs, which made the move maybe just seem a little bit easier than normal. Again, Crazy Legs not really coping with his car. I think he's got to do the decent thing here, let S. Graham through and let Graham have an attacking opportunity at Maximus. However, Afri now catching Navy for second.
Yeah, that is the battle for second place now, and the battle for second place in this championship. As it stands, Frisch doesn't even have to make the move, and he'll have secured second place in the championship regardless of fastest lap.
Ooh.
But yeah, he's really taken to those curbs and really finds himself almost somersaulting over them.
Yeah, nearly going for a bunny hop. I think it's a bit too early for that. I think the cars be hoping for Easter around here if they're going to be bunny hopping. But Afri now beginning to close in on Navy. And as you say, Afri has currently got enough momentum in the championship to currently stay as it is. It'll be, at the moment, it'll be 104 points to 96 points, so 8 points gap as it stands.
That's all he'll need at the moment. And that is all he needs whatsoever. Frisch there, just getting a little bit wayward there. Out of turn number 9. Yeah, the back end just squirreled away from him, and he's lost about 7 or 8 tenths just in that corner alone.
Yeah, that back end does not seem to be, he does not seem to be liking this car, liking these tyres or something. Maybe the setup is a bit naff for him. I'm just going to say it naff because that's the word that came to my mind. But yeah, Afri will try and close in. I think his strong point is the first sector. He's got to try and utilise that to the best effect. Get within DRS range, get within, I think, 4/10 of a second, and then possibly run them up for an overtake.
And Frisch is still starting to close that gap once again, and it just shows you how one corner around here, if you make a slight error, you're all the way back out of DRS range, which is, you know, ideally not what you want, and it can really affect you if you just can't get the moves done. And anyway, Frisch now still trying to close in on Navy ahead of him, and of course this is for second place in the championship, although for Frisch he doesn't really have to overtake. There's no incentive for him to do so, but I'm sure he won't just stay back and say, you know what, I'm happy with third. He's surely going to go for it with a title, with a championship rival for second place.
He will go for this. I don't doubt for 1 minute that he'll go for it at all. He will go for this, and I think he'll go for the win as well. He needs to set himself a bit of an example here. He needs to set himself a big point, especially to me, because he's going into next season. It's going to be a new, fresh start. I think the drivers here tonight have got to prove a point to everyone that's watching on the stream, to us as the commentators, and to me as head admin, to see what the season is going to be like next season. And I've got to say, Siege now just beginning to pull away on Navy slightly.
Oh, Navy's out! Navy out! Lost it at turn 9 and straight into the wall. And Navy now finds himself out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix dramatically. That was a big, big hit for Navy.
did he get caught on the curb on the outside? There's a little, like, bump in the road. I think he's got caught on that and he's lost the back end.
Well, he
That's
is
such a strange crash.
Well, he does find himself now out of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and what that means is that Frisch has, well, very nicely wrapped up second place in the Drivers' Championship as it stands. So no real worries about him, so he will finish second in this championship no matter what. The big incentive now is to see whether other drivers around could try and nab third place off of Navy. Well, there is one driver who could nab something off of Navy for third place in the championship, and it's this man here, Mays, running now in 9th place. If he wins the race, he'll grab third place in the championship.
If he wins the race, will he? 25 points. Ooh.
Yeah. It'll be close.
Oh my
But
goodness.
he can grab third place in the championship by winning this race tonight. If you can hear me, Mays, that's the target. A win.
Mountain to climb. Oh, Jeffrey is off. Jeffrey is off. Exit of the left-hander just after the second sector.
Yeah, that's the exit
Just lost the back end, I think.
Yeah, so onto the grass, and Henny will have to try and do all that hard work all over again to try and get past Alan Kay. And Navy just confirming that I was right. He actually lost it on the curb. So Navy then out of this race, and I imagine hugely frustrating for him.
That is going to be such a blow to his confidence, I think. It's such an unfortunate thing to happen. A crash like that, where you're just getting into your groove, and that happens. It's the worst thing possible from a mental side and a physical side, and I'm sure Navy will take it on board, probably just adjudge himself, see what went wrong, see the footage back, and then prepare himself for the Challenge Cup next week and for the season ahead. He's got to get into that mind frame.
Crazy Legs here trying to get into this mind frame as he just picks himself a 3-second time penalty. He's trying to close in on Maximus, but Maximus is doing really well here to just extend that gap further and further away. And in the ART car, he's looking to try and close in on Yuzi. Actually, Yuzi, it has to be said, in the Russian time car, is having a great time right now. Third place for a team this season who have only scored 4 points. And that was thanks to Hustwick scoring their only points of the season.
Yeah, Hustwick, of course, scoring the points for Russian time. Sadly, he has been removed, actually, from the league. I can confirm he's not going to be racing next season. I think it's a shame, driver of his nature, not going to be racing next season. But I think we're going to be finding new drivers. Russian time will be towards the top end, I'm hoping. And I'm sure it will provide some great racing for both the drivers out on track and for the viewers that are watching us in TTL F2.
Lap 8 of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It is Siege leading the way. Frisch is in second. Yuzi in third. Maximus there in fourth place with Crazy Legs in fifth. It is Graham in sixth. Alan Kay in seventh. Henny running in eighth. And Mays, last of the runners right now, currently running in ninth place. But both Dam's cars and Henny had to pit early due to damage.
Yeah, both Dam's cars also still in the points as well. Both Creamers running quite strong as well. Looking to the constructors, Dam's on 73, Creamer on 62. I think Dam's could be wrapping up that 7th place here tonight and possibly getting close to Charoux and Arden if they don't score points. That could still be on. They could pick up 4th maybe. If they get a good point score here, Dams, and the rest don't, then I think Dams could do it for 4th place out on track in the constructors.
I have to say as well, Maximus is doing a pretty good job right now. He's got front wing end plate damage and he's still running in 4th place and actually closing in on Yuzi ahead of him. Now he'll have to change that front wing at the pit stop, and you can see there Yuzi just running wide on turn 17, a little bit of a lock up on him on entry, which means he misses the apex and gets himself onto the curb, and that just starts a chain reaction throughout that entire section of corners. But Maximus here now 2.4 behind Yuzi. Even with that damaged front wing, he's doing a really good job out there at the moment.
Yeah, 2.2, 2.1, that gap is still consistently coming down, and Maximus across the line, just losing a bit of time at the final corner, improving on his personal best, by a tenth and a half. And looking at the race director, which I'm just getting up now, Uzi was a 57.6 last time around, with Maximus 56.4. There's the pace difference, 1.2 seconds pace difference. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Maximus on top of him in the next 3 laps.
Well, we'll see. At the moment, Maximus now 2.6 behind. Of course, through turns 2 and 3, he's going to struggle there. But everywhere else, he seems to be reeling Uzi in like it's absolutely nothing at all. And actually, down this straight here, where he's got less downforce, actually is probably helping him rather than hindering him at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely is. He is still closing in down into the chicane. Uzi looking nice there, Maximus into the apex of the corner. 1.9 seconds, first time gap I've seen that came under 2 seconds, and Maximus really going about business here. Both on the same strategy. This could be very interesting. It's almost as if we've got 2 races going on. We've got the battle for the win, Siege and Afri, and then a battle for best of the rest and the potential podium finish. Gonna be exciting.
It is going to be exciting. We're only 9 laps in as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this battle can develop and seeing what sort of battles we can have out there. And you see there, Maximus is still closing in on that gap at a rapid pace of knots right now. 1.6 is the gap between them, so really starting to close in. And Crazy Legs there has a 10-second time penalty, and it's now in the wall. That's the wall at turn number 17, and he's just gone straight on.
How on earth has he lost that?
I'm not sure what's going on there. Crazy Legs is losing positions now. He's still in this gap. I wonder if it's a controller issue or whether it's no, he's disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. So he now becomes the latest car to be out of the Grand Prix. I think there was some sort of battery problem in that one, because that seems so bizarre. You wouldn't park there on purpose.
Controller issue, or I'm just thinking possible annoyances in the background. I'm thinking some kids maybe in the background could have caused it, wanting to get on the PS4. Bit of a lame excuse, but I've heard it before.
Well, he does find himself disqualified from the race day. Qualified in third, had some pace about him, but for whatever reason the car was just not having it today, and he is now out because the game's disqualified him. Siege though leading the way, a tenth faster than his own personal best through sector 2 right now. So let's see how it performs in sector 3. And of course, when you're around a track like this, you've got sort of 1 minute 54s, and those lap times come down and down and down. If you save 2 minutes a lap on average, take into account the pit stops as well, these drivers are racing here for an hour, maybe even more than that. And around a technical track like Abu Dhabi that just requires your concentration, one slight lapse of it and it's all over. We've already seen that with Navy today.
Yeah, one lapse in concentration, and that is probably it, to be honest. Uzi is though getting closed down by Maximus, and even with that front wing damage, he looks as if he's just came into the race fresh as a daisy. Maximus is right on the back of Uzi, and I think my prediction of being on top of him within the last 3 laps has actually came true. It's the first prediction I've probably got right all season.
I was just about to say, you got one prediction right tonight at least. Didn't help out Navy whatsoever though.
No, commentator's curse on that one.
Yellow flag, sector 2.
Oh, Jeffrey.
And Jeffrey in the wall again. And that is actually
opposite side to where Navy lost it.
Yeah, but this time he's got away with it. This time he only gets a chip of front wing off. So that puts Mays now up to 7th place. Meanwhile, Maximus trying to close in on Uzi. Uzi running wide there on the exit of 4. And Maximus there, you can see, going into turn 6, not willing. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Not sure he meant that. And now heading towards turn 7, Maximus having to go around the outside. Uzi has a tighter line, but he might get a better exit here.
Oh, great
but no,
move.
Maximus round the outside, gets the move done.
Wow, that was sensational. Round the outside of the hairpin at turn 7. Never really seen an overtake in these cars done here before. But Maximus has just proved that the impossible can become the possible. Maximus is through, he's up to P3. You cannot complain at that move at all. That was textbook brilliant.
So then Maximus now up onto the podium positions, and I think he'll be quite pleased with that one right now.
He'd be very happy. That will give him the confidence going forward to possibly pull away from Uzi and just try and assert that dominance on that P3. It's there for the taking for him.
It is there for the taking, and I'm just having a look. Maximus here hasn't been on the podium this season. He came close last round with a 4th place. Singapore 5th place. In Germany he finished 9th. Austria 5th. China 5th. You know, he's been in and around those podium scoring positions, but never finished on it this season. Could this be his night? Can he finally break that duck and finally get himself onto the podium?
It could be his night, to be honest. Also, same applies for Uzi as well. His finishes 7th, 8th and 8th this season. Only 3 finishes this season. 15 points. He's going to be getting a hell of a load of points if he gets to the end of this race. Uzi, I think Maximus holds the key at the minute. He's got a little bit more pace than him. And if he just tries to extend out that gap now, it will come to bite back at Uzi at the end of this race. But maybe the tyres could have something to say about that.
Maybe they could. Lap 12 then of this race. We're not expecting cars to come in until around about maybe lap 20. Maybe a little bit shorter than that. Let's see what the drivers do. But yeah, lap 20 is really when the pit window opens. So for these soft tyre runners anyway, for the super softs, well, the tyres only last around about maybe 11, 12 laps. That's on a heavy load. Could be a little bit longer on a lighter load. So Mays and Henny, although they're running on the super softs right now, I don't think we're too far away from seeing them come into the pit lane to put on a set of soft tyres that will take them to the end. Although, how many soft tyres do they have? Do they only have 1 set of soft tyres? Do they have to do 2 sets of super softs running?
I think it's 2 sets of supers and 2 sets or 3 sets of softs, possibly. I think that's just a wild guess that I've just made there.
A wild guess.
Just a wild guess. Wild stab in the dark. May as well.
Well, we've got a bit of, you know, the cars are spread out a little bit, which probably gives us a perfect opportunity then, James, to try and talk about the Challenge Cup. It's 3 rounds, 25% races, Azerbaijan, Germany and Russia, all on one night, and whoever gets the most amount of points on the night wins the Challenge Cup. And I think it's going to be hard to say that Siege isn't going to run away with it. 3.2 ahead of Frisch right now, but I'll be honest with you, Navy and Frisch, they were giving Siege a run for his money. They weren't letting him get too far away.
Yeah, just had a massive... I was on board with Maximus there, and Maximus has just had a massive moment at the second to last corner. Went way, way wide, almost as if he was going to Saudi Arabia. Goodness me. But so wide, but I think Siege and Afri, 3.2 seconds at this stage. That is the closest battle I think we're going to have all through this race. And coming on to the Challenge Cup, of course, yes, there is 3 races that's going to be happening next week. It is Azerbaijan, Germany and Russia. 3 25% races. And it's going to be really intriguing because I've pretty much came up with this concept, so you can blame me for the track choices and everything else. And it is going to be pretty much everyone that you see now will stay in their cars. It's not going to be, we're not going to be changing it just for the cars for next season. These drivers will be in their familiar cars of what they've been running all season. So I think it's going to be really intriguing. Azerbaijan, Germany and Russia, I think I've tried to go for a bit of a mix. 1 long, 1 short and then 1 medium. Nice little thing. Amazing Jeffrey, by the way, and just into the pits. So 11 and 10 laps respectively on those super softs. Didn't last long.
No, they didn't at all, and that's the thing with these super soft tyres, they do degrade quicker than most tracks here, and of course only a limited number of pit crew to work on the car. We've got yellow flags in Sector 2 and a virtual safety car has been deployed. So who was that?
Why? That was Alan Kay off at turn 6. That is the strangest VSC deployment I've ever seen.
Well, what it does do is allows Mays and Jeffrey to have half or maybe have a quarter of a free pit stop as they now rejoin onto the circuit. Yeah. But yeah, Mays and Jeffrey puts on a set of soft tyres that will take them to the end of the race, no question about that. So they're just now running to the end on those sets of tyres, hoping not to get into any more trouble, especially with Jeffrey. He's lost the back end on multiple occasions. So just hoping now to keep it clean and just get to that checkered flag. He'll still pick up 8th place as it stands, but with this virtual safety car, Siege is leading with Frisch in 2nd. Maximus is 3rd. He is 37 seconds behind the race leader, 38 actually, if we do the maths, but we're back under green flag racing then, and Siege still leads here in Abu Dhabi.
Siege has actually gained a couple of tenths of a second out of that restart, and I think Uzi is the same. He's gained a couple of tenths on Maximus from the VSC restart. It's only 4 tenths I'm talking about with Siege and Frisch, and possibly anywhere between 5 and 6 tenths for Maximus and Uzi. So Uzi, Afri, the big gainers out of that VSC, I think it might just give them the confidence to come back at the guys ahead.
Absolutely. So lap 14 here in Abu Dhabi, and under the floodlights here, we didn't actually start at dusk, did we? I gave it all that talk about, oh, it's at dusk, and dusk to dark, and we actually started with the floodlights on, so that was pointless.
Yeah, we started, I think it was midnight we started that, so yeah.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a stream of mine if I didn't get at least one thing wrong. It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't.
That wouldn't.
Well, we see Maximus here now making his way through, and actually Uzi's not letting him get too far away. Now remember, Maximus does have that front wing damage, so he's going to struggle in some of the mid-speed corners where that aero's not quite there for him. And I wonder if we're going to see Maximus pit a little bit earlier than others.
Yeah, we might do. I think I've just picked up, actually, Uzi might have right side end plate damage. I think there might be a winglet missing, but I can't really see. It's difficult. There definitely looks like there's something on that right side end plate. It's very minute, but I can see it. I've got my glasses on, so I can probably see it.
I'm not sure, you know. That's... Well, I think we need VAR for that one. No, I don't think there is.
VAR.
Yeah.
Or CAR.
Oh. F2AR, yeah, that's what we need. just to check on damage for cars, that's it really, that's all we'll use it for. Meanwhile, Frisch is actually starting to close in on Siege ahead of him. The gap's now under 3 seconds for the first time in these last 6 laps, so Frisch is really starting to put the power down now and starting to close in on the race leader.
He's got confidence. He's got that. He's thinking about that win in America, and he's probably thinking, I can do this again. 2.7 seconds. Siege now, maybe just beginning to, maybe just, I'm trying to look for the word, maybe just manage the tyres a little bit more than Afri. Afri maybe just giving it the beans a little bit too much. We're not going to see any pit stops between these two, so they're going to go out for at least another lap. We are halfway through. It's Siege, Afri from the first 2 positions. Maximus in 3rd with Uzi in 4th, and Afri has just had the new fastest lap the rest with a 54.2. Graham in 5th, Alan Kay in 6th, Mays in 7th, and Jeffrey in 8th position. I'll take your wall for a minute there.
Yeah, I know, it just completely stole that from me. Oh well, never mind. Yeah, as James said, we're at half distance, lap 16 of this race. And Frisch, yeah, that gap has levelled out to 2.8 seconds right now, but just confirming what we thought, James, is that Frisch is going to go for it. Set the fast lap of the race last time, or last lap out, and he's going to go for it to try and close this gap a little bit.
Yeah, he has to go for it. I mean, Afri, I think, will feel the confidence is with him. He is now beginning to close in on Siege. Siege makes a mistake on a curve on one of the sleeping policemen ahead. Could potentially just give Frisch a little bit more confidence. I'm really hoping they don't make any mistakes, because it's going to be thrilling right to the end, I think, between these two. Siege and Afri. Maximus now just beginning to pull away from Uzi as well. Gap's just extended above 3 seconds for the first time in the race, I do believe.
Yeah, he got close last time out, then Uzi started to close that gap back down to 1.9 seconds, then it's grown again to 3.5 seconds. And Henny now picks up a 3-second time penalty. He is currently running in 8th place at the moment, 10 seconds behind the next car in Mays. And like I said before, Mays, if he wins this race, he claims 3rd place in the championship. It really is as simple as that right now.
It's still on. It's still on. You never know what could happen around here.
You never know at all. Well,
oh, Afri's made a mistake. Afri's just lost 8 tenths of a second. out of the grandstand section. That left-hander, I think, turn 17 or turn 18 even. The first left-hander before the under the grandstand section. He's just made a massive error, but I didn't see it. Just saw him lose the time.
What I would have loved is if you said, "Oh, he's made a massive mistake at this point of the track." He comes across the line to set the fast lap of the race. That would have been it. I'd have just ended the stream there. We wouldn't have been able to top that.
That would have been me digging my own grave right there, honestly.
I mean, it's Murray Walker-esque.
But yeah, he's got to try and close in that gap again. All of that work that he's done over the last few laps has just been erased by that mistake.
Yeah, he's just got to regain that composure, which he has shown when he took his first race win of the season, last race in the USA. But yeah, he looks like he's in really, really good form right now. Currently second place, 2.7 behind Siege. All things considered, that gap is still coming down.
Definitely seems like he's got something in him. I think Afri is just showing a bit more pace than Siege. And looking on average, the last two laps respectively, 154.5, 154.8 for Siege. Afri, 154.2, 154.7. I make that, what, 4/10 average gap closure between Afri and Siege?
Yeah,
if he starts extending that out a little, yeah, if he starts extending that out a little bit more, maybe 5-6 tenths, he'll be on top of him within the next few laps. And the pit stops are coming up as well, so he's got to do it now before the pit stops.
Yeah, got to try and close in on that gap. You see Siege there. It's a mixture of backing off a little bit and trying to save the tyres, and also just letting Frisch try and wear out his tyres a little bit. You can see him go through your picture now as he heads towards the start-finish line to start lap 18 here in Abu Dhabi, still in the lead. Look at Frisch go. Another fastest lap of the race, a 154.1. He is really going for it. Yellow flags in Sector 1. That is Henny around again. That is on the exit of 17. Gets himself going again, though. Any front wing damage, I wonder? I think he's... There is any, it's on the left-hand side of his car, but actually I don't think there is much damage at all to that car, so he's got away with it, maybe. Well, let's see what he does. He's going to stay out.
I think it's more the tyres just getting caught in the marbles and he hasn't got much grip. That's why he saw him run wide.
Well, Frisch here, 1.7 now is the gap, as he really looks to close in on Siege before this pit window opens. Now, as I said before, pit window, we're expecting it to open in around about 2 laps' time. So Frisch has got that amount of time to close in on Siege as much as he can. But will Frisch take too much out of his tyres? Well, I'm sure Frisch is thinking, well, I've only got 2 laps left on these tyres. I might as well go for it. I'm never going to use these set again.
I think he'll go, actually, for an undercut. I'm just looking at the timings, 1.3 seconds. If he undercuts, he'll be on much fresher tyres than Siege. Siege stays out a lap longer after he'll jump him. And I think he'll jump him by a good, maybe second and a half. Don't discount an undercut here.
No, well, the gap's now 1.2, almost within DRS range. And I wonder if Siege, seeing that gap close down, throws in the towel for this stint and just decides, you know what, I'll call in my stint early.
He's got to make a decision now, ideally right now, coming through, and it looks like he's slowing in. No, he's not. He's staying out, and so is Afri. So they're both staying out for another lap. 19 out of 31, Siege and Afri, 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, the tricky thing is with Siege, and I suggested maybe ending a stint early. The only problem is he's got to be entirely sure that those super soft tyres will get him to the end of the race. And right now, he doesn't think that's the case, as they make their way now in towards turn 3, and then through 4, and then there's a slight kink of 4 there. It does exist as we head now into 5 and 6. Gap is now 1.4. Frisch just not quite in DRS range just yet. And I think that would be a little bit frustrating for him.
Yeah, got to close in the gap. 1.2 now, though. Next lap around, I think he could be within DRS. That's, of course, if they don't come into the pits. I think both of them could potentially pit this lap, or Afri will go undercut, Siege will go try and overcut, and then we see, hopefully, side by side out the pit lane. That would be awesome.
Still, the gap is just over 1 second. And Frisch doing everything he can now to to try and close it on the gap. 1.1, there it goes. Will it go under a second on this straight down towards turn 11? And let's have a look and see if it does. No, not quite. However, you can see there Frisch is really reeling in Siege there. Look how much grip he had through 11, 12 and 13. So much confidence in the car, so much confidence in the setup now. And I think with a lighter car, Frisch is unlocking that full potential of the Trident here.
He is definitely. Siege is now just making a mistake. This is the pressure he is under now, Siege. Afri, I think, has got slightly fresher tyres at this stage, and this is it. Are we going to see an overtake, or is Siege going to bail into the pits? Are we going to see both of them come into the pits? Let's find out. Are they going to both bail into the pits? No, they're staying out another lap. This is it. This is the battle for the lead.
This is the battle for the lead then, down the start-finish straight to start lap 20 of 31. We have 12 laps to go. And you can hear there Joe's rubbing his hands. He's ready for this one as they now make their way through turn 1 and then through the left-hander of 2, the right-hander of 2. You see there Frisch having to back out of the throttle there. He can see the dirty air coming through turn 3, then the slight kink of 4 here, down towards the braking zone of turn 5, then through turn 6. And this is the thing now, Frisch will have DRS as we head now down towards turn 8. There's the activation line, or the detection line I should say, that white line just before the braking zone of turn 7. Now we see Frisch is in the slipstream, doesn't quite get the wheel spin down out of turn 7, however he will have the DRS down towards turn 8 now. You can see Siege going a little bit defensive now in towards turn 8 here, and Frisch decides not quite yet. Yuzi then is the first person into the pits then, deciding to get rid of those soft tyres in favour of some super soft tyres. Look at Frisch now, so much closer on the exit of turn 9 as we head now through turn 10. Frisch with the DRS and the slipstream. Which way would he go? He'll go to the left hand side where there's less space. Down towards turn number 11 they go, and Frisch is up the inside, and they're still side by side through 12, and Siege just has to back out of it. No room for him. Frisch gets the move done and takes the lead in Abu Dhabi.
That's the best piece of racing I've seen all season. That was pure brilliance between both of them. Afri deserves credit. Siege deserves, I think, more credit. Sportsmanship at a premium there. That was unbelievable. Afri sold him the dummy down on the inside, down the straight. I didn't think there was a gap there, and then he just shot through down the inside. Job done. He's up to P1.
And
what
Frisch
a move.
Then, what's going to happen here? And yeah, there's Siege coming in. Siege coming in, then he's going to go for the undercut now. Not by a long shot. So second place man, he's been leading every lap but that one, as he now makes his way into the pit lane. Now, of course, it's only 7 crew members who can work on the car, and one of them is the Lollipop Man. So in they come then, and you can see then the cars get to work. 2 jackmen, 4 tyre changes, and 1 Lollipop Man. That is all you're allowed in the F2 pit lane, and Siege gets underway then with those super soft tyres. Where is Maximus out on track? He's actually just approaching Penny now, making his way towards the last 2 corners. And there is Siege then. Now the unique pit lane here, you actually go underneath the main track ahead of you. We've only ever seen one person, actually 2 people, one person in F2 in real life, one person in F1 in real life, actually lose it in that pit lane section. Siege then rejoins in second place, 28.7 down, but the thing is that gap is just going to come down and down now that Siege is on those super soft tyres. So you lose around about 29 to 31 seconds in this pit lane in F2, so Frisch is going to have to be a little bit more aware of that.
Yeah, I was just counting actually. It was a second when they came into the pits, 28.3 out. I make that roughly 27 seconds, that pit stop from Siege. I was counting it up. I think there's been a moment somewhere out on track, do you believe? And brief yellow flags there.
Well,
Uzi's right on the back of Graham.
Yeah, he is on those super soft tyres. Of course, Uzi was the first person who started on those soft tyres to now pitted to put on a set of super softs. You can see how much more grip he has than Graham through that S section alone. Down towards turn 5 we go. You can see there a little bit of a corner cut there. He gets punished for it. Now going towards turn 7, you can see he's on the outside there, and you can see how much more grip he has. And Afri Frisch is into the pit lane then, and Yusi gets the move for 4th place. So Frisch in from the lead of the race. He worked hard for that one, and then Siege instantly tried to execute the undercut. Will it work though? Frisch then into the box. The 7 crew members get to work on the car. On goes some super soft tyres. Siege now is making his way through the final 2 corners. Away goes Frisch then out of the pit box. So Siege then will make his way down towards turn 1. He's down the start-finish straight. Now remember, the track actually goes underneath. So there is Siege then coming up towards turn 1. There is Afri now going underneath turn 1. Let's see now, where are they going to rejoin? Siege through turn 2 and turn 3. There is Afri riding on board here. And yep, Siege has got the move done then by 2 seconds as well. So Siege retakes the lead here in Abu Dhabi. And Frisch is going to have to do all that hard work all over again.
He will have to do that hard work all over again. He's got lap pressure tyres, which will be to the advantage of him. But the undercut, quite potent round here, and Siege has got that done, and by a good, I think, 3 seconds in the end. Siege powering it down on that last lap. Afri now has got to think about closing them in. I think he'll have the pace to get back into this. Just watch out from the flying German here tonight. Uzi, new fastest lap of the race, 54 flat.
Yeah, 54 flat from Uzi then. It's fastest lap of the race, but
and he's jumped Maximus.
And he has jumped Maximus up to 3rd place, so that battle is going to have to be settled out on track, James.
It will. 4.1 seconds, 3.7 now coming out of the pit lane. So Uzi has jumped him. I make that a good, maybe 5 seconds jump there from Uzi. Good stuff. Undercut again works. Quite powerful. He's got to hold him off though now.
Yeah, because Maximus will have 2 lap fresher tyres towards the end of this race. Same with Frisch on Siege, he'll have 1 lap fresher tyres towards the end of this one. So Alan Kay actually moves up to 5th place, but he hasn't actually stopped. He hasn't made a mandatory stop there, the only driver to do so. But he will find himself in 5th place for a short while. Mays is 48.2 back, now 46.1. So even if he pits in now, he's going to rejoin comfortably in 6th place.
He will do, yeah. I think Alan Kay, of course, will be looking for all the good points here tonight. And I've got to say, if he... Do you say he'll come out in 6th place?
I would say so. Well, actually now that the gaps have actually sorted themselves out, it's actually going to be 7th.
It'll be 7th, yeah.
I blame the timing screens. That's not my fault.
Yeah, it'll be about 10 seconds behind Mays, I think, when he comes into the pits.
So then he'll rejoin in 7th place. And here you can see Frisch then out of turn 7 and now on the run towards turn 8. 1.6 is the gap, but that gap is closing tremendously right now. I think Siege is going to make this much more of a battle then with 8 laps to go. In fact, it's going to be 8 and a bit. It's actually 9 laps to go on the counter. However, Frisch is going to make this a battle. I can feel it. 1.6 behind. Graham is also 1.6 behind Alan Kay, but this is a driver who hasn't stopped yet versus a driver who's just come out of the pit lane. So that might be writing on the wall for Alan Kay, and I don't think he'll fight that one too much because he knows it's not for position. They're both on different strategies. But Frisch here, complete opposite. 1.5 seconds now back from Siege for this battle of the lead of the race.
Gonna be interesting. Frisch did pick up a warning on his final lap there on lap 22. Siege all clean so far. I think Frisch has picked up 2 warnings. I'll have a look actually, race director. 1 warning for Siege, 2 warnings for Afri, 2 penalties for Uzi. Maximus has got a penalty. Alan Kay has got a penalty. Graham has got 2 5-second time penalties. I think he might have served that in the pit lane. One of them at least. Mays has got no... Oh, he's got a warning now. I was just about to credit him for having no warnings. He's just picked up a warning. And Jeffrey has picked up a penalty as well. So that's the rundown of the penalties.
Well, Frisch has just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Now 1.2 seconds behind Siege. Here is Graham then on board with Alan Kay. Oh, sorry, on board with Graham, chasing down Alan Kay. That's what I meant to say. DRS wide open for Graham, and again, I don't think Alan Kay is going to make this too much of a battle as they make their way now down towards that braking zone of turn 8. And no, he doesn't. He just lets Graham go. He knows they're on different strategies. And so Graham now moves up to 5th place. But Frisch now 1.1 seconds behind Siege.
This is going to be really interesting between these two. Running down the straight, 1.1. Look at their last lap times. Siege was a 151.6, Afri 151 flat. 6 tenths gained. Another 6/10 gained at least on this lap will put him right on the back of him, coming on to lap 25, and that'll be, what, 7 laps to go? This is going to be a great race.
Yeah, we currently have 8 laps to go here, and 7 and a bit if you're going to be picky. And Frisch is only just over a second behind race leader Siege. We've already seen these two battle for the lead of the race once before, just before the pit lane and the pit window opened. Well, I think Siege forced the pit window open so that he could try and get the undercut. Let's see if that's going to work. He's got track position right now, which is what's important for him. But Frisch has the pace right now. So it's all about making that move on track right now. Meanwhile, Yuzi and Maximus now going side by side down the back straight towards turn 8. And Maximus here retakes that 3rd place. You saw there Yuzi got an undercut on him. He might have another go down towards turn 11 because he will have the DRS. And meanwhile then, Siege and Frisch battling away here, lap 25. 7 laps to go. And yellow flags in sector 3. I believe that's just Maze getting out of the way of the leaders of the race. Yuzi, meanwhile, wanted to try and have another go back at Maximus down towards turn 11. No, he couldn't quite do it that time. And Maximus here is looking for his first podium of the season here in TTL F2. And there's not many better places to get it than the last race of the season, because you get that momentum towards the first race of the next season.
Yeah, definitely. And I've picked up on a fact, actually, while I was looking through. All of these drivers, like you see, from 3rd down to 8th, have not had a podium this season. So no matter what happens, one of these guys behind will be picking up a podium. But that's right on the back of Siege, though. Yeah,
Frisch here looking for that DRS down towards turn 8 to begin with. Now he'll look for the DRS down towards turn 11 to go for the move. So that first DRS was just to try and close the gap. Now this time, he might try and move. He looks a little too far back, in my opinion. And he thinks the same, so he stays behind this time around. But to try and put pressure on Siege now, we've already seen Siege make a mistake, and it was through turn 17 which opened up the opportunity to Frisch to make the move. So it's not impossible for Siege to make a mistake, and it came from that pressure from Frisch behind as we make our way now down towards turn 17. Looks much more hooked up to that car. Now it's on fresher tyres, lighter car as well, which means it's, well, it handles a bit differently, maybe to the way drivers prefer, where it's lighter, so less turn in, it's more aggressive with the turn in as well. But you see here Frisch now making his way around the final corner, looking to clip the apex there, and does so really well. Again, down the start finish straight, 6 laps to go here, as we've got yellow flags at turn 1, now it's green, now it's yellow again. We've got a car around, it is Alan Kay on the exit of turn 2. And that is front wing damage as well for the Dams car. So maybe lost it on the exit of turn 1. Really unfortunate for Alan Kay. He was having a really good race. And also trying to recover as well. But actually, I said Alan Kay's not made a mandatory stop yet. That's actually untrue. He actually has made a stop. I remember now. Because he stopped for damage early on. So he's actually, in theory, not going to stop again. But I can't see now without those tyres and with that damaged front wing, he's going to stay out. Meanwhile, then riding on board with Frisch then as he closes and closes the Siege down towards turn 8. Siege goes to the left-hand side. Frisch trying to go to the right-hand side. He'll be on the outside for turn 8, but the inside for turn 9. Let's see what happens. Oh, contact made! And Frisch is around at turn number 9 there. Trying to go up the inside. Siege took the corner, and there was really Frisch there. He just made contact, went around. And now 3.2 seconds behind. That is going to be a dagger to his heart.
Oh, he shouldn't have tried that. He just ran a little bit too deep down into turn 8. And that's what's cost him. He's trying to go for a gap. That's always going to be closing. Siege having the priority of the racing line. The car ahead always has priority of the racing line. After the gap just closed on them. They make contact. He's spinning. But I can tell him he is now fired up because look at that gap. It's just closed by 5/10.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not hanging around. He's going to have another go. Some drivers would get flustered. Some drivers would curse their luck. Not Frisch, though. He's still focused and still going for it. Maybe at the time he had a few choice words. However, he's straight back on it. And that is the resilient driving from Frisch that we've come to know this season.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. I'll tell you what, if he maintains the speed that he has been doing all race, this could come to a final lap showdown between these two. I'm not ruling it out at all. This could be quite something to see. I really hope it happens. I hope, I'm praying it doesn't happen to Siege, but I hope for our sake there's a mistake by Siege, after he then closes in, and then we get a final lap showdown. That'll just be a perfect end to the season.
You're willing someone to have a mistake. I'm not sure how that's going to go down, James.
More entertainment for the viewers, I think.
Yeah. Well, currently the gap is 2.9 seconds. So we do have 5 laps to go here in Abu Dhabi. And, well, it's safe to say that it is going to be... Well, it's going to be tough now for Frisch because he's actually started to fall behind again. He had that momentum, but... Yeah, now it's 2.9 seconds, so he's dropped to 3/10 there. Mays has left the session. Mays has left the session, currently running in 6th, so he'll keep going as a ghost car for now. And meanwhile, Henny here trying to close in on the gap of Alan Kay up ahead. But I find it hard that Henny's going to try and close in the gap because he's on 13-lap-old soft tyres, and Alan Kay is on a brand new set of super soft tyres. And of course, fastest lap of the race, you still score a point for it. And let's have a look and see who the fastest lap of the race is going to so far. Well, it's actually going to be Frisch with a 1:51.0. And let's see if Alan Kay can get into that ballpark now on a fresh set of super soft tyres.
Yeah, he can do. He's beginning to pull away from Jeffrey, as you say, 1.8 seconds currently the gap. Gap's just stabilised out in front. 2.8 seconds. I don't think my last lap showdowns are going to come true.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Saying that, watch what happens next.
Lap 28 of 31. So we have 4 laps to go here in Abu Dhabi. And 4 laps of the TTL F2 season to go. And of course we do have the Challenge Cup next week with 3 races, but that's an off-season race, a completely different cup championship to race for. So for TTL F2, we're winding down, and like I say, we had the cars to begin with, being the multiplayer cars, and now we come here and see these cars, the F2 cars, in the glorious, glorious floodlights here in Abu Dhabi. One thing to note is that Mays, as a ghost car, as an AI car, has come into the pits, but fitted a used set of super soft tyres. A used set.
That's strange. What?
Well, if he does...
I have no words.
If he does rejoin Mays, he's going to be slightly miffed, I think.
11-lap-old super softs. Unless he didn't have another set of fresh softs available.
But of course
that'll explain that, I think.
Well, that would explain that, but his AI has pitted. The ghost car's pitted, not him. And the ghost car's decided to put on super soft tyres. So he is going to be, I think, a little bit fed up with that one. And Mays has joined back. And I think he's going to have an unpleasant surprise to see that he's now on old super soft tyres.
I can probably guarantee that within himself there will be quite a few choice words when he sees that he's out on 11-lap-old supers. And I hope he doesn't find out first on the stream.
3 laps to go then, with Siege leading, yellow flags in Sector 2, and it is Henny who's around again, and that is at turn 9, or the exit of turn 10. So we've got someone making their way through, and that's Yuzi now up to 4th place. Well, lapping Henny, I should say, they're in 4th place, and Siege here, the gap is 2.9, and I wonder, James, if there is damage to Frisch's car. I mean, it might not be clearly visible, but sometimes just it not being visible doesn't mean it's not damaged.
He still looks like he's gaining on him, though. That's the thing. If it's anywhere, it's on the left side, I think. Let me have a look at the lap times. 52.3 Siege. Afri was 52.2, so he was actually quicker last lap around by about 600ths.
About 600ths is not enough, and Siege right now is just doing the job, keeping that delta, and looking for yet another win this season as he makes his way now down towards turn 11. Well, he's already been crowned the champion of this season, and he wants to wrap it up with a win, and no surprises there whatsoever in the Carlin car. He wants to go for his 4th race win of the season. His last 3 attempts have seen him finish in 2nd place each time. So it's been a while since his last race win. Last race win at Germany in round 6. Since then at Belgium he finished 5th. His only finish off the podium this season so far. With Singapore, Japan and USA, he finished in 2nd place. So he'd like to wrap up this season with a race win. And actually Frisch on this lap has really turned up the engine, because now the gap's 2.2.
I was just about to say he's getting back finally into the groove of this race. A second off his personal best, but 2.2 seconds. That's again about 0.5 per second at least at last lap around. Continue that up. Could still have a last lap showdown, but it is very unlikely. He's got to maintain that pace all the way through. Was that Siege bunny hopping over the curb there that I've just seen?
It might have been. I couldn't quite see it out of the corner of my eye, but in any case, it might have been. And if that's the case, his tyres might start seeing... Oh, well, they might have seen better days. Of course, Frisch has 1 lap fresher tyres than Siege. So if there's going to be any drama for Siege, it's going to be on the final lap.
Yeah, he's got a car ahead of him as well, which is S. Graham, which could help him along a little bit, just extend that gap to Frisch, who isn't behind 2.3 seconds. That is the closest battle out on track. The Dams cars could come into a final lap battle though. 2.7 seconds. Mason Allen K. Graham let Siege through, by the way, and he's going to let Ashley through, I will believe, through the final sector somewhere. But the Dams cars could come very close on this final lap.
Yeah,
in fact, they've been lapped actually.
They have
been lapped.
And here's the thing, of course, Mays is now on old super soft tyres that are going to be past their best in the best scenario, and Alan Kay is on fresher super soft tyres. I think the Dams cars are going to fight for that 6th place.
Oh, they will. They will. 1.9 seconds. Alan will have him maybe down the straight next lap around. Final lap of the race.
Strategic nightmare is a complete understatement for Mays here. Completely against his own will, he's been put onto a set of old super soft tyres. What he started this race with, in fact. But there is Siege then to start the final lap in Abu Dhabi, and the final lap of this 4th season of TTL F2. The first season we've seen actual F2 cars being raced to their maximum potential, and it's very safe to say that Siege here has unlocked the potential of that F2 car to no end, and it shows. I mean, he's won the championship by quite some distance as well. He scored all but 1 of his team's points for Carlin. All but 1 point has been scored by that man there, Siege, as he now makes his way on towards turn 8. Quite a distance away from him, and Frisch here, just in the last couple of corners, has actually dropped 4/10. Siege here has just driven to a delta. He's had some on-track drama with Frisch here, but he's held his nerve, he's held his own out there, and now leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with just over half a lap to go, as he finds himself now in towards this tricky turn section now, where most of the turns are 90-degree turns, now making their way towards turns 11, 12 and 13. This chicane here, which can catch you out, especially that one there of turn 13. Take too much curb and the rear end just waves goodbye, basically. As we now make our way through 14, through the 2 fast right-handers of 15 and 16 towards the braking zone then of turn 17. And Siege slowing that car down just in time as we now make our way through 18 and through turn number 19. Siege here is going to wrap up this season exactly how he started it, with a race win, and it is going to be win number 4 for Siege if he can make it to the checkered flag. Siege makes his way around the final corner, and Siege wins in Abu Dhabi, win number 4. Congratulations to Siege, who puts a lovely little bow on this season. Frisch finishes in 2nd place there, as we have actually seen Alan Kay has got away past Mays, but Mays here is looking to try and fight back now down towards turn 11.
No
the
way.
2 Dams cars are fighting side by side through the chicane, and Mays has done it. What a move by Mays then, around the outside and on worn tyres. He's made that move stick tremendously, grabs 6th place with both hands. Meanwhile then, Maximus down towards, this is 15 and 16, towards the braking zone of turn 17. Well, it has been a really consistent season for Maximus. He's really found his own out there, consistently in the points whenever he's finished. He may have had 4 DNFs this season, but I tell you what, he'll be very, very happy for what's about to happen. Around the final 2 corners he goes. Maximus here is going to claim his first podium of the season here in Abu Dhabi. You can see how ecstatic he is. Maximus rounds off the podium with a great drive. And Yuzi will come across the line in 4th place as well. And Henny, fair play to him. He's not had the greatest of races. In fact, most people will have just thrown in the towel. Not Henny, though. He is going to come home, and once he makes it to the line, he will grab 8th place, and that is valuable points for him and his team as well. But Siege then rounds off this season with a win, exactly how he started it. Here is your now confirmed TTL F2 Season 4 champion with his 4th win of the season. Siege comes out on top at Yas Marina. Well, there they are then, coming out onto the podium. Siege with win number 4, Frisch in 2nd, and Maximus claiming his first podium of the season at the last race of season number 4. And Siege wraps off this season. He won in Australia at the first race of the season. He's won at the last race of the season. Exactly how he started is how he finished, and builds on that momentum for next season. And I tell you what, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Siege and Frisch in F2 next season. And Maximus there grabbing his first podium of the season. Bright future there for Maximus in TTL F2. Let's see if he can carry that in towards next season. But here are your unofficial results then. Siege grabs the race win. And Frisch there in 2nd, also with the fastest lap of the race, so he'll score 19 points for that finish. Maximus then in 3rd, Yuzi 4th with Graham in 5th, Mays in 6th on worn tyres around the outside of Alan Kay in 7th place, and Henny there finishing in 8th place. Navy and Oxford did not finish the race. You saw Navy crash out dramatically at turn 9, and Crazy Legs disqualified from the race. We assume it was some sort of controller issue, but I have to say, now that the season is over, the Drivers' champion is Siege here in season number 4, and the Constructors or Teams champion is Carlin. So a huge congratulations to Carlin. They've wrapped up the double, the Drivers and the Teams championship, and they will be the team to beat for next season.
Yeah, they will be the team to beat next season, of course, and I can confirm the lineup that Carlin will be running next season. I am very happy to inform that Siege will continue in that Carlin car, try and defend his championship, and George Roberts will be joining them alongside that, as of course Gypsy George, I do believe. So them two, I think that'll be quite a strong pairing. As long as George picks up them points, I think Carlin could retain that Constructors.
So that wraps it up for this season. In terms of season number 4, we still have the Challenge Cup next week. Join myself and James for that one. You can find out more information by following TTL F2 on Twitter. It's at TTL_F2. You can follow me whilst you're there as well. It's at KSMCG F1. And you can also follow James. It's at B52Head. Well, James, we've got one more race. 25% races, 3 races. You chose them yourself. I bet you're looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's like giving birth to a child, I think, is the best. But probably not going to be using that euphemism at all again on stream. But I'm really excited for it. I think it's something interesting. It's something unique. It's going to test the drivers. I want them on their A game going into next season. And I think we'll find out who is best of the best next week.
Absolutely, and it's a coveted one to win, and also builds that momentum for season number 5. Hopefully you can join us next week. In the meantime, I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.